Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hold Up, the show where we dive deep inside your childhood nostalgia, pull the movies from the past out to see if they truly hold up. Today, I'm Chase, as always, and I'm holed up with just Kyle, because Andrew had to take a sabbatical, right? Or is he in prison
What
again?
the fuck? Why don't you correct yourself? What do you just Kyle? I am all you need. And not just Kyle. It's I am lucky enough to be holed up with the sufficient Kyle. I am sufficient for you.
Well, I'm saying that for all the fans of Andrew out there, his mom, his dad. I don't think his sister listens to this show, but
No. I think those are his only fans though. I don't think Gretchen likes him too much.
Gretchen goes back and forth. I think Gretchen would rather
I
listen
don't
to
blame her.
you and I than listen to Andrew,
I
to
think
be
she'd rather
fair.
listen to you. Gretchen had a visceral response when she hears my voice. It's almost like when somebody nails in a chalkboard and like they gag, like that's her. Like she like needs to vomit. But I don't blame her.
Like a cat puking,
Like
right?
a cat puking. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
well,
Yeah.
speaking of cats, we watched Dr. Doolittle. This was your recommendation, so really excited to
Mm.
dive into this one because I do have some nostalgia for it. But, Kyle, before we get started, I want you to tell me how you're feeling today using veterinary terms.
Oh, oh, very good. I am an unknown cancer that's spreadable between dogs. They haven't seen it since the Great Pyramids, and there's no stopping it. So it, I spread easily, but we have no idea how to cure it. So I just kill all your loved ones, your furry loved ones. So that are specifically dogs.
Great.
Don't have a name for the cancer yet, but it is contagious. So
They just call it
have
Kyle.
fun. They call it Kyle. Yeah.
Hank
So, yeah.
syndrome.
Yeah. It can't get much worse.
Well, this is the perfect podcast to talk about Dr. Doolittle because we're both animal lovers. In fact, I love animals more than I love humans. And you have a dog and 17 cats, right? And a baby.
The baby counts for three.
Right, the baby and the baby's three more cats.
It counts for three.
We watched Dr. Doolittle, and I want to start with you. This was your choice for the week, so let's talk a little bit about your childhood memories with this movie.
This was one of those movies that my brother and I, when we would go on long car trips from Cincinnati down to the Florida Keys, so like 16, 18-hour road trips. My parents, we had a minivan, and the middle seats folded, so we would sit in the back seats, and they had a little, tiny little, like, I don't know, 15, 20-inch TV they put in there as a VCR that plugged up to the freaking outlet, cigarette outlet. And we had the original Star Wars trilogy. We had Shrek. We had Dr. Doolittle, Rush Hour, and one other movie that I can't remember off the top of my head. But that was like this was one that was frequently watched and we just thought it's just funny. It is not a movie that is in any way, shape, or form serious. You can't take it serious, doesn't need to be taken seriously. You said everything with a grain of salt. And it's acted well. The comedy is great. Eddie Murphy is on point in this one, and it's got a great cast. Like, oh wow, very good. You got the great Norm Macdonald playing a titular role, not a titular role. We have Norm Macdonald playing a pivotal role, and we also have Chris Rock, very funny, and just how some of the animals are portrayed is really really fun. There's a couple animals in particular, like the neurotic dog and the bugged out squirrel, that were just like it's just so funny. And this is also one that my parents loved, particularly my dad couldn't get enough of this movie, and he thought one part in particular was just the funniest thing in the world. And it is one of those movies where it's like it is. I hate to say this as it sounds so fucking stupid, but it's fun for the whole family, you know.
Yeah, it was a big family comedy at the time, and I have a similar experience now. That was the second time you've talked about that cigarette lighter VHS DVD
hmm
player on the show. You talked about it a little bit with Jurassic Park 3.
hmm
I'm a sucker for old technology like that.
Pretty cool.
They're actually relics now. It makes me feel
They
old
are.
anytime that I see that like on eBay or something. This
Same.
one I had on VHS, and you remember the VHS. It was the white
Oh
VHS.
yeah, the white VHS with the monkey and Dr.
Yep.
Doolittle.
He had a
Yep,
stethoscope on. He was like leaning
he
over, and the
did.
animals were talking into the stethoscope. Yeah, I had that on VHS, and I remember watching it a lot, but I remember watching it at my grandparents' house. They had a little TV in the kitchen. Do you remember those TVs that were like maybe 12 inches? in
Yes,
diameter,
I know exactly which one you're talking
but
about.
they were massive. Like
Yeah,
that
they're
little
huge, and
that
they weighed like 30 pounds.
right, like, but it had such a small screen, but there was a VHS player attached to it,
Uh-huh.
at the bottom. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Um,
Yep.
I would sit in my grandparents' kitchen when I was like 6 or so, and I guess this movie came out, what, 98? So I've been about
Mhm.
like 7, 8. So I would sit in the kitchen and eat and watch this movie. And I remember my aunt happened to be in town at the time that this came out. I guess I may have gotten it for like Christmas or something that year. And she was watching it with me. And it was like one of the few movies I remember me and my aunt bonding over. Not that we didn't bond when I was growing up. It's just I don't think we watched many movies just me and her. Usually it was our whole family. I watched the Star Wars trilogy with my uncle, so I have memories with him watching A New Hope. He was the one that I was like, oh, I want to watch Star Wars. I hear everybody talking about it, and he was like, all right, come on, and he like took me into like this room, and he had all of his Star Wars stuff, and he showed me A New Hope and was like teaching me all about the lore of Star Wars, like some good memories there. I loved this movie as a kid. I thought it was hilarious. I thought Chris Rock was incredibly funny in it, and it
Very
was going to be
funny.
funny to see if that holds up. I didn't know all the cast other than Eddie Murphy.
Hmm.
And Eddie Murphy too, he was more in like adult comedies, I think, prior to this, right? Like Coming to America, Beverly Hills Cop, stuff that I wasn't really watching at 7 years
Hmm.
old.
No, this is like the beginning of his like daddy daycare era
Yes, and this
of like
was
more like accessible family movies.
right, and this is before Shrek, before Daddy Daycare, Daddy Day Camp, all those movies that came out after that. I'm trying to think if this was the first family comedy he did. I'm sure it's not. I mean, he did what, Pluto Nash around this time, which was something we can
Terrible.
talk about later down the road. Oh, Nutty Professor. I think Nutty Professor, but even
Yes.
that was even PG-13.
Yep.
So this was his foray into family comedy, and
Which
I
this
didn't.
is still a PG-13 movie, a very much a PG-13
Yeah,
movie, but it's more family oriented.
right. There's enough here to sustain adults' attention. Like stuff that adults will catch and the kids won't. Did you know that this was a book series? Was that something
Yes.
that
It's
was?
an old book series. Yeah, and I had some of the books as a kid.
I remember when it came out, my mom telling me that. My mom was like, "Yeah, these are books," and I could never find the books when I was a kid, and I didn't realize that they were written in the 20s.
Yeah, they were written a long time ago.
Right, and this isn't the first Doctor Doolittle film either. This is a remake of a film that came out in 1967, again based on the books by what was it? Chris Lofting? Is that the guy that wrote the series?
I think so.
Hugh Lofting. Hugh Lofting wrote the series in 1920, but they did a Doctor Doolittle movie because my dad talked about it, seeing it when he was a kid. It was Doctor Doolittle, and it came out in 1967. And I don't know if you know this, but it was one of the biggest Hollywood flops of all time in comparison to numbers. It was made
Mm.
for $18 million. That's a massive budget
Oh
in
my God.
'67. Yeah.
Dear Lord.
And it didn't even make a quarter of that back, I think. It was.
People probably killed themselves because of this movie.
I'm sure people got fired and their whole career was over, but yeah, they
They're probably
really.
just executed. They're probably just like, fuck it, we're gonna kill you in front of everybody as an example.
Well, the people that watched it were executed apparently because it was not good. I was trying to look up the why that they wanted to resurrect it, and I couldn't really find much other than they thought that they could resurrect the Doctor Doolittle name because there was a lot of. I mean, honestly it works well for a kids movie, and I guess in '98 they decided to try that again. And I don't know about the original movie, but I know in the book series, doesn't he have a parrot that teaches him how to talk to animals or teaches him the animal
Yeah,
language or something? You
something
familiar
like
with the
that.
books?
Yeah, it's
Um,
something like that. I have not read them since I was a child, but that strikes me as familiar.
I never read any of them, and then I think then also this movie too. After like '98, I don't think I watched it again. I watched it a shit ton, but I don't want to sound like a broken record on this show. But that happened a lot, like for me, like where I would watch a movie and memorize it, and then I would be on to the next whatever it was. And I think after that, it was like Titan AE for me, which we covered with Tyler
Yes.
on the show
Oof.
earlier. Yeah, which I know you watched recently in prep for that show, and
Yeah,
you
it
hated
was
it.
terrible. It was not very good at all.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I wanted it to be really good, but the animation style was absolutely terrible. And if it
right.
was better, I would have given it a different. It would have held up, but like it definitely does not hold up. And the animation style is one of the reasons why. Everything
Right.
else, there's no other redeeming qualities.
And we talked about it, like it had its moments where the animation like looked good, but Don Bluth was so like handcuffed
Mhm.
by the whole process. So, but that's another episode. You can go back and find that. We did that episode earlier this year. So, if you want to go listen to that and find out our thoughts on Titan AE, there you go. But Kyle, do you think this movie made money?
I think they raked it in. I think they made some fucking cash.
What do you think the budget was? We
I'm
just
gonna
talked about
guess
the
it was.
original was what, eight? I said 18 mil for
Yeah.
67, which is insane.
Yeah.
What do you
I mean,
think?
I'm gonna guess because of the SFX. I think a lot of this was shot on location in San Francisco. It looks like so, and also there are some big names in here, but they weren't that big yet. Eddie Murphy was pretty much the biggest one in there. I'm gonna
Right.
say it was around 67 million to
Okay,
produce.
you're not far off. It is 71 million was the
Okay,
budget
not
for
far.
it. But yeah,
Not too
again,
bad.
and there's a lot of they did a lot of practical stuff here too, which I love. They actually used animals in
Mhm.
this, and they just
Yep.
I think they CG'd their lips moving after the
They did.
fact.
Absolutely, they did. Animatronics that they used for the bigger things like the tiger, I think, and also surprisingly for the guinea pig, probably because it was unsafe to have it strapped in on the top of a car going 60 miles an hour.
What are you talking about?
Which
You did
is
that with your
fucking
guinea pig.
hilarious. I will never own a rodent. I already talked to Andrew enough. I have enough rats in my life. But
I
I
was
think with the animatronics and stuff, dude, it's not like it. I know it's expensive, but like, I don't know. I feel like they made quite a bit of money off of this.
they raked it in, as you said.
I was gonna say like 268 million is what they made.
Close, not far off. It's 294 million and some change.
Holy shit!
So yeah, that's why they greenlit
Damn.
two sequels after this too. I think the
Yeah,
latest
terrible.
one coming out in what 2020.
Maybe yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. I've heard they're terrible. We're probably not going to go down that road. Not even going to mention them, but yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, it's the effects look good here. We'll go ahead and say that the effects are really good. They use a
There.
lot of practical and just only CG where they need to. The CG kind of looks a little wonky at times, but it's
It
so
does, but it's
minimal.
few and far between. Exactly. Yeah, it's very minimal, and you kind. It's okay. It's like same thing with Jurassic Park now, the original. Like there's some spots in there that are like, they should probably remaster that, big time. But like aside from that, like come the fuck on. The story's funny. The dialogue's hilarious. It definitely did not take me out of the movie.
Uh, Yeah, and it was a big success. And again, Eddie Murphy was on a roll of success after this because he did Shrek not shortly after this too. He was starting to rake it in, and then I think he went a bridge too far, and then he started sucking again. But
Yeah.
let's break it down. We're already starting to talk about the movie. Let's go ahead and jump in and see if it actually holds up to what we remember. Do you want to lead us off this week since Andrew's not here to do so and tell us where this movie takes place and where it begins?
I would love to replace Andrew in all aspects of life. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that. I think I'll do a better job as Andrew than Andrew would have himself. I don't have glasses to wear though, like a fucking four eyes, but we'll make do.
Get contacts,
This
Andrew.
movie we open this movie up with it's dialogue from Norm Macdonald, the great Norm Macdonald, who plays a character in this movie that we'll get to in a little while. But it's essentially talking about like how kids have, kids, when you're a kid, you talk to anything. You talk to a baseball, you talk to a sofa, you talk to your dog. And it opens up to a kid talking to their dog, and the dog is having like an esoteric conversation.
And it's an Ellen
It is.
DeGeneres dog too, which is
It is.
now, but
Now, but back then she was probably a good person before she was corrupted. So we'll take it. But I
or
mean,
she was just
very
hiding
funny.
her corruption a lot better back then.
Maybe, but it's essentially like her saying, the dog saying, we know when you're gone, but we just don't know how long you're gone for, but we know that you're gone, and we definitely notice it. And then the kid goes, why do dogs sniff each other's butts? And as a kid, I was like, God, pop, so funny. fucking like hilarious. As an adult, I'm like, fucking base, sophomoric bullshit. But she's like, well, that's how we get to know each other. It's like shaking hands. You want to get to know somebody, you sniff their butt. So the next scene is John Doolittle with his dad walking down the street, and they meet the new principal for his school, and he goes, "John, introduce yourself. This is your new principal." And the principal holds out his hand, and little looks at his hand, looks up at him, reaches around his hips over to his asshole, and sniffs his ass and goes, "Nice to meet you." And then obviously everybody's flabbergasted and just like absolutely beside themselves that this child has done this. I can't believe he's done this. And the next scene is a pastor being called to his house.
Which
the dad calls a pastor.
This is the crazy scene. This popped me as an adult because, like, as a kid, I was like, "Yeah, sure. What do? Your child's obviously possessed because he sniffed one ass." So the pastor,
let's not take him to a psych ward. Let's fucking get the fucking pastor.
Or let's just not get a therapist or just talk to him about you can't be a dog. Instead of talking to your children, let's just go ahead and exercise them.
That whole scene was just fucking hilarious. And the pastor walks in and he's just very serious. And he looks down at John is sitting cross-legged on the floor and just looking up at this pastor, a massive, tall man. And he goes down to the boy and he goes, "Leave this boy, devil man. Leave him." And he just starts like shaking him. And the dog goes, and literally the dog says, "I'm going to bite you," which I thought was like fucking hilarious. Really, really, really funny.
Funnier as an adult than it is a kid.
Hilarious.
Like once you watch enough like demon movies as an adult, like you just realize how stupid that this dad really is for calling a priest.
Dumb shit for somebody who's probably having a manic, schizophrenic, or psychotic breakdown. Which honestly,
or just being a kid.
Fair,
he's just being a kid. He's like 7 years old. What kid doesn't use his imagination or does things he learns in the environment that's not always appropriate? I think I went to school calling people a bastard one time because I saw it on TV and didn't understand.
And you're like, "I'll call you a bastard."
Yeah,
that sounds like a nice thing to say.
I've said it to somebody else. I got in trouble for it, but I was like, "You bastard."
Well, you should get in trouble, Chase. You're a fucking awful piece of shit human.
I really am.
I don't like you.
I really
don't like you.
I maybe need a priest.
Maybe you should execute yourself. I think that's a new one I'm going to start using. No. I think I'm going to start using, instead of like kill yourself, I'm going to say execute yourself, because that's like a different connotation. Like executing yourself means that you're like, I have to do this to myself. I don't want to do this to myself, but I need to. It's a punishment. I need to do this. I have to film it. I have to put it on the internet. So I think that's more appropriate for you, Chase. I think you should execute yourself.
Okay, unlive myself. Isn't that what everyone's saying now?
Yeah, but that's kind of base. Let's be a little bit more highbrow than that, Chase. Please and thank you.
Well,
the exorcism fails. The dog bites him on the fucking, what is it, his pants or something? He bites him on the pants. Regardless. Yeah, whatever. And it's funny because when the dog bites him, he's like, "Get this dog off me! Get the dog off me!" And it's just like the high pitched squealing and the music style. It's actually genuinely funny. But then one of the most heartbreaking scenes that I've ever seen is the next scene. The dog is in the fucking animal control van and they're taking it away to the pound, and that's the last time he sees his dog.
Yeah.
It's really fucking sad.
And I was
so
like,
sad.
Do you not think that is more psychologically damning to a child than just letting him sniff someone's ass? This kid just sniffed someone's butt because he saw his dog do it. Instead of just having that conversation with him that he's not a dog, you, try to exercise him and have this priest come in and start yelling and screaming. So when the dog protects its family, then you basically execute the dog. Everything's coming full circle. It made, as an adult, it pissed me off. It made me so mad at Dad. I was like, you fucked up this kid's entire future. But it ended up working out for him financially and career-wise because he ends up being a physician. And we kind of fast forward a little bit, and now it's Eddie Murphy, older John Doolittle, and he's with his family early on, like getting breakfast. Those like scenes like where it sets
Yes.
the family comedy. It's always a breakfast table. It's always people late for work or school, and they're like doing their small interactions. It's always the same thing too. It's always the dad is very no nonsense. The mom has a big heart, and the kids are always trying to express themselves. It is no different here. You have
No,
Raven
but it's
Simone.
actually Raven Simone. That's right. Yes, Raven Simone, and then Kyla Pratt is in it.
Yep,
And then I can't remember the mother's name, but she's in a shit ton of movies. A very, I will say, yes, very on the nose trope kind of thing, sure,
better
but it's
done though.
actually done well.
Yeah,
Exactly, it's done well here, and I will say, pretty fucking funny because it's Eddie Murphy interacting with Raven Simone, and Raven Simone, while very small role in this, fucking crushes it.
oh, she does great.
She does amazing, and she plays like the tormented teenager so well. And one of the first interactions, he says, "Good morning, Charisse," and she goes, I'm not going to go by Charisse anymore. I'd like to go by Paprika."
Paprika. And he's like, what is that, a
So
spice? Like,
he's like, yeah, he's like, she's like, the wife's like salt and pepper,
and
paprika. He's
he
like, I love,
brings that joke back later, like in the movie, where he's like, nutmeg, let's go. And she
yeah,
gets mad at him. So it's like,
it's so good.
but it's exactly like a dad would do. Your no nonsense dad would be like, yeah, okay, whatever. And he would mock you for it instead of just being, he's not mean to his children. He's a very sarcastic guy. And by no nonsense, I don't mean like he's just like ruling with an iron fist, because he obviously loves his family. He doesn't want them to waste their lives. And the
Mhm.
little girl is very curious. It's like she's running experiments
She
in her
is.
room. She has a guinea pig. She is just like,
Which, let's talk about the guinea pig, because this is the part that my dad and I thought was just the funniest fucking thing. That the running joke in this movie is that he doesn't know what a fucking guinea pig is. He's like, I don't understand why you need to do all these experiments. Like, actually, that rat guinea rat thing, the thing died. It's not our fault it died. And they're like, he's not dead. His name's Rodney. He's in my room. It's so fucking funny. Like, he's like, whatever, whatever. See, that's what I mean. You got all this stuff. Why do you need to have this? Well, he's like, whatever. I'm late for work. I gotta go. And
yeah,
then we,
because she's trying to hatch that. She found this egg, and she's trying to hatch this egg, and she wants to be the first person. This bird, she's claiming it's a bird.
Mhm.
We'll get to that later on.
She thinks it's a bird egg. Yeah, she found
Yeah,
it in the park.
and she's like,
She thinks it's a swan.
if it sees me, it needs me to take care of it, and I want it to be its mom. I want to be its mom, and I want to be able to take it back to health and get it back into the wild. So she's got a really big heart,
She does.
and this little girl
Very
is a
sweet.
very good actress too. Like, she
Very
plays the
good.
role really well. They don't give her a lot of dialogue too, which if you're dealing with kids like this,
Don't give them a lot of dialogue.
yeah, work the parts around
Mhm.
them.
You can tell as well, like they limited their screen time, like you're saying, but I think they also let them play around with the script. It sounds like, to put it in kind of their own words to make it sound more natural, because a lot of my gripes with that is like they give a rigid script. The kid learns a rigid script. It doesn't sound like something a kid would say. Everything that she said was either acted well enough that it sounded like a child, or she just said something I think that just worked and they went with it.
Right. They probably just kind of gave her like the playground, said, here's the gist of it. Now say it like you would. He rushes off to work, leaving his family, and he gets to this hospital, and he's greeted by two other doctors, and they're all in this practice together, and they have a big meeting coming up where they're going to sell the practice, and it's all going to make them rich and partners, and it's a big career step, but it's taking a lot of time, so they don't all
Mhm.
go see their families a lot. So that's the big thing with this movie. So they're like, we have a pitch meeting Saturday. And he's like, well, I can't go Saturday. I've got to go to the camp with my kids. Or we're going camping before Maya, my youngest daughter, goes off to summer camp. And they're like, well, you can be late. And that's kind of the whole thing with it.
Mhm.
He's like, yeah, I can be late. I'll do it. I'll be there. And as he's doing this, one of the funniest parts in this movie to me, and it may not be funny to everyone else, is the reoccurring lady that he's treating, one of his
Yes,
patients.
the shellfish.
She's like,
So fucking funny.
she's allergic to shellfish, and she keeps eating.
Mrs. Parkus, yeah. It's soft shell crab. He's like, what's the middle word? She said, shell.
Yeah. And she loves shellfish so much. So we find all that out. He gets home, tells his wife. His wife is unhappy with him, and I'll mention it now. Their marriage doesn't seem like it's going too well. He's very sarcastic to her, and he's always like putting work before the family, and she's kind of getting upset. And even their sex life, they try to have sex multiple times throughout this movie, and it gets interrupted. Some for good reasons, others for not good reasons. But it just hones in the point that their marriage is not the best. And he's kind of dominant in the marriage. But he gets back home. He starts packing up the car for them so that they can leave for this camping trip and go to camp. And he says, I can't make it. I'll drive up when I'm done with the meeting.
We have, at that point, there is the exchange between him and his wife. And she's like, I really just wish that you would come. Like, it's not all about money. Like, come spend time with the family. And he's like, okay, not all about money. Well, look at that car right there. The convertible you've always wanted. It's right there. And she's like,
John,
oh, John,
you didn't.
You didn't. And he's like, you're right, I didn't. The van's around the corner. So don't talk to me about how money doesn't matter. Oh, John, you didn't. How did she start? I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah,
He's like, oh, does it matter? Oh, there's the car you always wanted. Oh my God. Yeah, it does fucking matter. Shush.
Yeah. You want that car, so see, yeah. And like, so he used that to as a point. And while he's packing Maya up, she's like, Dad, I can't find Rodney. Can you find him and put him back in his cage and bring him to camp? I'll find your rat for you, and I'll make sure he's okay. So they leave. Later that night, he's like trying to sleep, and the guinea pig ends up on his chest and scares the shit out of him. So he ends up putting
that part is so funny.
And then he
loses his shit.
The funny part is he grabs it, sticks it under the pillow, and tries to suffocate. And he realizes why he's suffocating it under the fucking pillow. That it's like his daughter's pet. So he
doesn't give a shit.
He throws it in the cage, and I don't know how the guinea pig survived all that. And then he gets a call as he's trying to sleep again, and they're like, hey, emergency, one of your patients is in the ER. You need to come down and see it. So he ends up at 2:30 in the morning back at the hospital and opens the blinds as Mrs. Farkas again. She's eating shellfish once again.
This is where it goes, Mrs. Farkas, do you have a death wish? And she goes, I took it out of the shell. So dumb.
And then he's berating the resident. He's like, what did I say? Call me when there's an emergency. You could have given her anything she needed. You didn't need me. You knew exactly the cause of this, and like, don't do that. And so he's leaving the hospital, and he's kind of driving. He's kind of tired because he hasn't been able to sleep. And at one point, he's like looking down, and I forgot what he was looking down at. And he sees a dog in the road, and
he spills his coffee cup, his Dunkin' coffee.
He spills his coffee, which drinking coffee at 2:30 in the morning is definitely something to do. And he sees the dog in the middle of the road, and he swerves and hits his head. It's a very slight car accident. It's not like a fender bender, but he swerves a lot and like kind of stops and kind of barely hits something, but it's enough to jar his
trash
head.
Can,
jar his head forward. And you can see his head kind of slam, and he's kind of like dazed. And he looks back over and he sees the dog laying there, and he's like, "Oh man!" And that's where you see that he kind of does have a heart. You know, at the beginning when I first started watching this movie, I thought that they were going to write him as this like bastard. And, you know, the word I used when I was 8 years old. Like, he hates animals and whatnot. And he is kind of like, you know, nonchalantly shooing off animals throughout this movie and you know, kind of talking about them. But he doesn't hate them. He's not like he's not a mean person. He's
just more like they're more like a nuisance to him, and he doesn't want them to be around. And I think you're hitting on something that I think is an undertone in this movie that I don't think I noticed as a child, which I don't know if they intended it, but it's very much he's not trying to be mean, like you said, but it's almost like he's like, I can't have you in my life because I had a bad experience before and I can't let that back into my life. So go away, go away.
Absolutely.
Very subconscious.
Right. And it's kind of like his dad, like the things his dad did. Like his dad sent the dog away and said, no, you got to be serious. And so like he thinks of them as something that gets in the way of his success. But you could, the way he played this off too, like I'm like, this is a family comedy, and that's really good facial expression, because he's like, fuck dude, I killed a dog.
He's like, fuck, I didn't mean it.
And he's just like, man, and he looks up and the dog gets up and starts walking away, and it's Norm Macdonald's voice says, watch where you're going, bonehead. And he's kind of taken back by that. He's like, did the dog just talk to me? Did the dog just call me bonehead? And he walks away and he's not thinking anything of it. And then what is it the next
I
day?
think it's when the next day he's getting everything together, right? And to go out to the country and where his family's at. And he's in the car and he's got Rodney, the guinea pig,
I
in
think
the
before
passenger.
that he goes to that meeting and he starts hearing he starts there's a bunch of things that happen, but he starts hearing animals
Oh no, you're
talk.
right. That does happen before that, I think. Yeah, yeah. He
Yeah, he's
starts hearing it. He's like, there's a bunch of squirrels and pigeons around, and the squirrels are like, bread? And he looks over, he goes, no, thank you. And the other one of his other partners is like, what are you talking about? He's like, you offered me some bread. I said, no, thank you. And then it keeps on devolving. He keeps on hearing things and responding.
he sees
He's
these
like,
two
I gotta
pigeons
go.
arguing
Yeah.
and he starts flipping out and he's like, I gotta go, I gotta go. And the other doctor's like, yeah, sorry, he's leaving. He's under a lot of stress and he was on call all night last night, so he probably just let him go. And they'd already had most of their meetings, so they just let him go. He gets in the car, and one of the funniest parts of the car is he gets in the car and this horse gets in the mirror and goes, keep it moving, buddy. And he's like, ah! And he freaks out and goes back and he looks up and it's a police officer on the horse saying, keep it moving, you can't park here. And he's like, oh yeah, yeah, yes, officer. And he like gets in his car and he drives off. And then to your point, that's when he gets to his house. He starts getting things together and he's trying to get the guinea pig together for Maya's camp. And that's when we are introduced to Chris Rock as the guinea pig. He starts talking to him and he starts freaking out again. And
As
I,
you would,
and I
as
think I think he's mostly freaking.
smell that fresh air. And he's like, that's something about the country that and you realize Rodney goes, what? And he goes, huh? And then he freaks the fuck out. He stops the car, and then they start having this whole conversation.
Yeah, and then he's like, "You're talking to me," like kind of thing, and then so he freaks out some more. What does he do? He like puts him on the side of the road, and he
Yeah.
starts to drive away with cage and all. And
No, he's got the cage in his hand. That there's like a farmer and his wife walk by, and he's like talking to the guinea pig. She's like, "You doing okay?" He's like, "Yeah." He's just getting some fresh air, stretching our legs, and she goes, "That's good for you. That's good."
and then
Because he's talking to a fucking guinea pig.
he was like he was saying something. He was like kidnapping, help, and he's like, "Shut your mouth, shut your furry mouth!" Like it's just
Yeah.
he started snapping. This couple's watching him, which that mom or that lady was the mom in The Rookie
Mhm.
with Dennis
Yep.
Quaid, and she's been in some big roles, and she just
Very
happens to
big.
just be passing by in this movie.
Mhm.
He starts to drive off, has a change of heart because he can hear the guinea pig basically say, "No, no, no. What about Maya, your daughter?" Blah 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 blah. So he gets the guinea pig and straps him to the roof of the fucking car and
Oh,
starts
wow.
driving down the road because he didn't want to hear its voice.
So funny.
And then what happens, Kyle?
He pulls up to the cabin, and he immediately he comes in hot, skids in the gravel, immediately puts in park, jumps out, and goes, "I did it!" And everybody's like, "Okay, why is the guinea pig on the roof?" And he's like, "I thought he could do for some fresh air." And they start realizing that like something's off with him. Why is the guinea pig up there? And he's like, one of the funniest moments is he's talking. He's like, yeah, I'm so glad to be here, Dad. Do we still have those BB guns I used to play with as a kid? And he looks when he says that he looks right at Rodney, and Rodney kind of goes, "What the fuck?" And the dad goes, "BB guns," and I just thought that was fucking
He's like, "Are you all right?"
so funny.
And then and it flash forwards that night, and he's in the cabin with his wife, and they're having a little sexy time or getting ready to, and next thing he knows, the window's open, and his wife is getting changed or something like that, and he walks out the balcony, and he hears this owl, and the owl is talking to him. He's like, "Oh, you can hear me." And the owl's like, "Can you take this stick out of my wing? It's really hurt." And so he takes the stick out of the owl's wing. He's like, but he's kind of shocked when he's doing it. It's not like he's just like, "Oh yeah, let me do that." He's like legitimately like just perplexed by this. And he goes and takes the stick out of her wing, and she's like, "Thank you." And she flies off. And At some point, the animals start talking again, and squirrels and all these other
Yeah,
people.
he starts. He's like, because the wife comes out and he's like, she's like, "Oh, look, an owl." He's like, "Yeah, nasty owl,
Disgusting owl,
disgusting
disgusting.
owl." Yeah,
Ugh. They're
yeah,
mean,
nasty,
and she's like, no,
mean.
they're
Get
not.
that away. He's like, it's beautiful, and they try to start having a sexy time, but then what it didn't. Don't think this isn't where they come into the apartment yet, but something happens, and he go no no no, he goes into the to like the living room area, and like the raccoon is inside. He's like, "Hey, Dak," like he's
He
like,
yeah, he keeps kind of
"Okay."
running into these different animals, and that raccoon's like in the trash can eating, and which that's something raccoons do in cabins.
It
But
is. It is funny.
he freaks out. He freaks out now, full on freak out after a day and a half probably of listening to
And he,
animals talk.
yes, and then jets out of there, and his wife is like, "What the fuck is going on?" And I was watching this with Erica, and she was like, "If you did that, I would be in the car with you, or figure out a way to be like, you would not. If that was happening, I would not have let
She
that happen.
says
You would
that.
not
I
have
think
waited."
Erica would have been like, "Let him go." Like, just let him
Erica would have
go.
been like, "As long as he kills himself, it's fine.
Executes
Just get
himself.
rid. Just as long as he executes himself, like that's fine."
Yeah, Winnie will get his life insurance. We'll be fine.
Jokes on her. She's not getting anything.
Probably for the best, but it kind of did feel weird because she was like, okay, like, and it's like, no, he just had a full panic attack meltdown and left his entire family at this cabin. And he calls a doctor that he knows because he's a high end doctor too. He's not just a general physician. And he calls the doctor he knows. He's like, I need a CAT scan. I need a CAT scan
No,
tonight.
that's funny because he's like, "Sam, how you doing? No, no time to talk." He's like, "John, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. It's late." He's like, "Yeah, I was kind of just wondering if you wanted to get together for a drink or a CAT scan or something." My dad used to work on radiology equipment, and he thought that was fucking hilarious.
Just
like,
get together
like
for a CAT scan.
a CAT scan. So he winds up going to the hospital, and when he's talking to the doctor and the other doctor in the car, he's like, "Are you sure, John?" Like, he's like, "Do you really need to do this right now?" He looks over to the car next to him, and there's this giant, like, I think it's a mastiff of some kind. And he looks over at the mastiff, looks over at him, and he looks at the mastiff, and the dog goes, "I love you." And he goes, "Yeah, I think I got to get in tonight." Yeah. Which
Yeah.
I thought, again,
And then we're introduced to the rats, which I think was one of your favorite characters. So as he
so
pulls up to
funny.
the hospital, he's like, because he goes through the parking garage, and there's these two rats in the trash can. One of them is John Leguizamo, everybody,
Yes.
and they're just really funny, and they're just talking shit to him. They're like, "Who? What are you looking at? 4 eyes? Like, you want a piece of me?
Got
Come over
four
here."
eyes. Yeah.
He says, "I'll go bubonic on your ass."
Robotic on your ass. So good.
And
So funny.
and they're Spanish rats apparently. So, like,
They're Hispanic rats, yes. Latino.
he goes in, gets a CAT scan, everything's normal, and the other doctor's kind of perplexed by this, and he's like, "What's going on?" kind of thing, and he's like, "I don't know," and he's like, "John, you're under a lot of stress. You've got this big merger coming up, and you just need to relax a little bit." And that's kind of what and normal, and that's probably pretty normal. And a lot of people in his life are just like, just relax. You're too stressed. So he's like, all right, you're right, you're right, you're right. And then the next day, he calls his wife. Which, why didn't you call your wife late that night when you relax a little bit? But he calls his wife and says, everything's okay. I'm just under the gun. I'm stressed. I'm sorry to freak out like that. And she was like, well, just come back and stay with your family and just relax. As he's talking to her on the phone, he sees the dog that he almost hit, and it's Norm Macdonald talking to him. And he's like, all right, honey, I'll be there soon. He hangs up on her and then goes to the pound. And this is where his curiosity gets the best of him. And he ends up freeing Norm Macdonald's, and before he does all that, he's like kind of looking around at the other dogs, and they're wanting him to like.
It's so funny. He goes through. It's like they're using. It's like they're portraying it as like dog penitentiary, like in the pen, and it's like they're walking by, and he's like, "I won't bite another person. I swear I won't." He's like, "I'll be good." And the next dog that goes over is like some kind of like bull terrier, and he's like, I am Kaiser Sosa, which is so fucking funny. Like, so great. Usual Suspects reference is so good.
Oh, and I would have never
Uh,
caught that as a kid.
no, never ever, but so fucking funny. And like, just like really dark. And then the dog, like, they get Lucky out. Oh, they call him Lucky at some point. And he's walking out and he's like, the dog's like, that dog walking. He's like, well, that doesn't sound good. And, but he gets adopted and the next stop is the vet, right?
Well, yeah, because he starts like talking to him a little bit because he's trying to explain. He's trying to figure out if he can learn something from the dog on why he can talk to animals now, and the dog has no like answer for him. And he's like, "All right, get out. This is your stop." And he's like, "You wait, what? You're just gonna leave me on the streets again?"
Oh, that's
And
right. Yes, yes, yes.
he starts coughing. He's like, "I feel sick. I feel numb. I feel like the lights are closing in on me." So he starts like feeling bad. So he takes the dog to the vet to get him looked at. Since he's been on the streets, and the vet's the same kind of funny. It's like there's one dog being dragged in. It kind of reminded me of Apollo. It was a big German Shepherd like
Really funny.
Apollo, and
It was. He's like, not my manhood, man,
yeah,
not my manhood. I promise. I won't look at another female again. I swear. And as soon as he said that, a collie walks by and goes, "Oh, hey, baby, sweet baby." He's like, "No, I'll stop. I'm a reformed man. I'll stop." And then there's the golden retriever with the lady, and she's like, "Lie down, Chauncey.
Chauncey, yeah,
Lie down, Chauncey.
she's screaming.
Lie down, Chauncey." And she's like, he looks over at him, and she goes, "He's deaf." And the dog goes, "I'm not deaf. I just can't stand listening to her." Another lady like bends over, and he goes, "Woof. Would you look at the ass on that one? Is that is that the biggest ass you've ever seen?" Like, it's great. It was such a funny, and then the whole bit with the vet played by Jeffrey Tambor. Great little bit. Obviously, not very realistic vet's office where they're like putting down an animal in front of another animal. Obviously, they wouldn't do that.
No,
But
they have a special room for that. But
they do. Yes,
and he's listening to the dog, so he knows exactly what the dog needs and wants. And the dog's like, "Hey, by the way, I'm fine." And it's that same Norm Macdonald timbre that like I love, where he's like, "Hey, no. Remember when I was just I'm fine. I'm fine.
He's like, "Actually, I'm fine." He's like, "Can you tell him to get away from my butt?"
He's like, "No,
he's like,
I don't think
he's okay."
And then
he's like, "Oh, let me guess, you're an MD. I can always tell when an MD comes in here." And it's like this whole time, Jeffrey Tambor is like, "I have to interpret what the moan means when the dog is moaning. My patients can't talk back to me. It's harder for me." And he's just like, "Yeah, I can fucking talk to the dog." And he's just like, "Tell me," but whatever. And he's like, he puts the thermometer in his ass, and he's like, so that's the whole thing. Like, "Don't let him put that up my ass."
Yeah.
Oh.
And he's like, it's moving south. It's moving south.
He's like, "I'm gonna swallow the thermometer, and I don't mean with my mouth." And he's like, "I think you might have lost your thermometer." And he looks back and he goes, "Oh yeah." Well,
and he's got to
go three options. He's like, "We got three options. We can remove surgically, laxatives, or going manually." And the dog's like, "Laxatives." And he's like, "I think laxatives." And he goes, "Never works."
Yeah, like why would you offer that if it never
exactly. Never works. What the fuck? Which I thought was hilarious too. Like, you're offering. He's like, "No, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah, we're gonna go in.
We're gonna have to go in manually." He puts on his fucking safety glasses and his fucking thing, and he's like, "What's he doing?" And he reaches his fucking fingers up his ass and he grabs the thermometer and he leaves the vet's office. How does he leave, Chase?
He walks like a cat that's got tape on its feet.
Yes, exactly.
It's so funny, and you can hear Norm Macdonald owling, and then they ow, ooh, ah, and then they end up driving away, and he opens the car door and he's like, "All right, this is your stop."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You know what? Thanks for taking care of me and springing me. I guess I'll be all right." And he starts walking away, and that's when his wife calls. He's like, "Hey, where are you on your way?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm on my way." And Maya starts talking to him. He's like, "Hey, Dad, I want to see you before I go to camp." He's like, "Yeah, Maya, I'll be there." And then Norm Macdonald, being the smart dog he is, starts barking. He's like, "Daddy, you got me a dog." And he's like, "What? No, what?" And he's like,
"He got me."
And eventually just breaks. He's like, "Yeah, I got you a dog." And his wife was like, "Is that what you've been up to this whole time?" Which would also,
he's like, finally.
Which also, if I was the wife, I'd be like, "What's wrong? Like, you leave have a panic attack, a meltdown, go get a late night CAT scan, and then you adopt a dog, you're not doing okay mentally. But she's happy now. She's like, oh, he's finally coming around or something like that. I don't know. So he shows up at camp, or he's on his way to camp. My favorite scene in this is he's talking to Norm MacDonald, the dog, and he's like, all right, she's going to want to know your name. What's your name?
I had a name once. It was Please Mommy, Not Him.
And he's like, what about Lucky? And he's like, oh, Lucky. Yeah, Lucky's good. So they name him Lucky. Maya loves the dog. He's being good with the family, and he goes into her bunk, and you realize she doesn't want to be at camp. She's very kind of isolated. She wants to be at home with her experiments. She doesn't want to socialize. And he has a really good heart-to-heart moment here with her.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, and he was doing that dad thing, too, that I don't know if everyone notices as they have it, where they try to, like, over-exaggerate or amplify a situation to try to turn you on to something. Like, she doesn't want to be there, obviously. And he's like, isn't this nice? Look at this. Oh, this cabin. It's so nice. Let's go.
What a nice cabin.
Yeah.
What a lovely
wow. Isn't
camp.
this nice? This is so nice. Like, he kept saying it, and she's not buying it. And he goes to her, he's like, look, Maya, just stay here. And if you have to leave camp early, you don't get to keep the dog. You stay through camp, you get to keep the dog. It's actually a really good barter system. Like something a parent would do. Because he wants her to socialize and make friends. That's what he wants out of her. He's doing it the right way, but he's also trying to take away some of her personality because of what he learned as a kid. But after all that, he goes back, and what happens next, Kyle, after he gets back home?
This is what he actually, like, the animals actually come to him at this point.
Right. He's trying to have sex with his wife again.
Yet again, but he is let's just say interrupted because he sees a fucking billy goat.
He hears his door.
His door.
Yeah,
it's the doorbell. It's the doorbell first. He goes to the doorbell, and he's like, what do they say?
Like, hello.
Hello, and he's like, oh, fuck that. He closes the door, goes back in the bedroom, and she was like, who's that? He's like, no, nobody. And then he looks across the. Then that's when he sees the billy goat, and he's like, shit, I got to take care of this. And so it's just a never-ending flood of animals. We get to get all the animal personalities, and it's like...
It's because the owl told these animals, that, like, hey, he can hear us, and he's a doctor, and he can help you. So different animals show up in his house, which, long story short, there's even a funny scene in there with Raymond Simone. She's walking out of her bedroom with sleepy-eyed, and he's like, what are you doing up at this time? What are you doing here? And she was like, I gotta pee. I go to the bathroom. And he's like, what? No. He's like, no. You've been drinking too many liquids. That's your problem. You're drinking too many liquids throughout the day, and that means you can probably hold it. So go back to bed.
Dad, I have to go.
And
he's like, oh, okay. He's like, well, the dog is in the bathroom, and she said, but Lucky, the dog, is using the bathroom, and you hear a toilet flush, and he kind of walks out and
with the toilet paper on his leg.
And I was watching this with Erica and my sister-in-law, and they thought that shit was so fucking funny because it is.
I would love if my dog Cleo or your dog Apollo would learn to use the restroom like that. But and there's ducks in there, so he hides the ducks in the bathtub. He's like, everyone, shut up. And then, like, closes it, and he's like, yeah, Lucky left the seat down for you and everything. It's ready for you, and you know how you ladies like it. And he leaves. And to speed everything along, he ends up in the living room. He denies his wife sex again. He's really excited about having sex, and then he just ends it and stops. And so she's emotionally crushed by this. He starts to opening an office and starts talking to all these animals. Like, okay, what's wrong with you? And there's just like a montage of different animals and different issues. There's a monkey that's an alcoholic. There's
so funny.
There's a pigeon couple, and he's in like a therapy session with him, and the pigeon doesn't want to be a pigeon. He's like, if I look this way, do I look like a sparrow? Like, or
he's like, do I look like a blue jay?
Yeah. She's like, you are not a blue jay. You are a pigeon. It's a really funny conversation, and he starts helping all these animals. That kind of kickstarts his curiosity because he deep down, he is a good dude. So he's like, oh, I can help him. I'm going to use my medical degree, which I don't see how that works in this scenario. Like, working on humans is not the same as working on animals, and especially the varied animals that he has. But suspend your disbelief. He's talking to animals, so you can't just trust everything here. So he starts helping them all. What happens next, Kyle, after he's done helping these animals?
The monkey says, "Come quickly, doctor, come quick. The tiger, he is going to jump." So they're going to go see, I guess, a tiger. And he's like, "Monkey, come with me." He's like, "I want to fucking come with you. It's a tiger." And he's like, "Come with me." So the tiger, the monkey, and Dr. Doolittle will all go to see this tiger who's about to jump off of launch himself off a fucking observatory tower or some shit. And they go up there, and it's a big kitty.
Big ass tiger.
Really big tiger. Fucking huge. And he's talking to the tiger. The tiger's like, "I'm going to kill myself." And he's like, "Why?" He's like, "I'm in so much pain." He's like, "Well, I want to help you." He's like, "You can't help me. Pain's too much." But he agrees to help the tiger. And this is kind of like one of our big plot points that kind of comes around at the very end. So he helps the tiger out. And it's like, "Well, I'm going to help you. Just, just give me a little bit and I'll help you out."
Yeah, because the tiger's thing is he's like, I have double vision pain in my head. He's like, I can't deal with it anymore. I'm going to kill myself. And yeah, he ends up agreeing to help him. And then I think, he ends up starting to change at work too at that point. One of the rats that he had met earlier ends up down and out and unconscious. And he's like, "You got to help, Doc. You got to help. He's dying. He's dying, Doc." And he's like, "What? No, I'm not helping him. Y'all insulted me, told me you're going to kill me, all this other stuff. Like, why would I help you?" He's like, "No, we'll change. Just, you got to help him. You can't let him die. He's my only companion, Doc. You got to help him." And he's like, "All right." So he takes him into the doctor's office, into one of the rooms, and he's skipping out on meetings and stuff now, skipping out on his own patients. People are getting worried. His wife is worried. She comes down to the hospital. She's like talking to the other doctors, and they're like, "Yeah, he's under a lot of stress. Something's breaking with him." And they end up walking into the room and see him, and he's like, he just kind of goes along with it. He's like, "Yeah, he's this rat. Something's going on. I've got to fix him." And they're like, "John, it's a rat. What are you doing? You're not a vet." And he starts like, the rat like dies basically, or goes unconscious, and he starts doing CPR on the rat.
Mm-hmm.
And
then the rat lets out a giant fart. He's like, "It was just gas. It was just gas."
One of my least favorite scenes. Yeah, I'm just not into the fart humor, but they watched him do CPR on a rat, and they're all like, "Oh God!" Like that was
disgusting.
Funny. Yeah, they're all like disgusted by this. But that's enough for them to put him in a mental institute.
Enough. And next scene is him going off to the mental institution. And who is the director of the mental institution, Chase?
It's Paul Giamatti. Good old Paul. We love Paul. And I meant to mention too, the tiger is Albert Brooks, which was
Albert Brooks.
A fun. Yes. I was like, that's a very familiar voice. And he actually has a documentary out that I need to watch. And I was looking up after this movie where it's talking about how he didn't want to be defined by playing a fish for playing Nemo's dad. He was like, "I've been in a lot of great movies and I only get called Nemo's dad."
I hate that. He was in Drive, and he was an excellent villain. He's a great actor. He was really good.
He's a great actor, a great voice actor too. I mean, I know he doesn't want to be. I mean, he did a great role here. He did a great role in Nemo, but that's all anybody remembers him from. But in the Mental Institute, Paul Giamatti kind of has a vendetta out against Doolittle because he beat him in med school, and and I want to speed along here because I don't want us to go too long. The tiger. He ends up in the mental institute, and kind of throughout the whole process, he's like, "I'm losing my life again. I can't do it with these animals." And they kind of break him. And for a while, he was going along with it. He's like, "Yeah, I can talk to animals." And they bring in a chimp, and they're like, "If you can talk to animals, this brainwave will light up when you talk to him." And it turns out the chimp only speaks Spanish, and he didn't know that until they were escorting him out of the room.
He's like, "Gracias por nada." And he's like, "Oh, you speak Spanish." And he's like, "That's what he speaks Spanish." And he's like, "Yeah, he speaks Spanish for sure."
Yeah,
and he's like accepting his kind of fate in this mental institution, and he's like, it kind of comes to a head when he's like there's a scene right after this where he's like getting his pills and he's going outside, and there's a squirrel, and the squirrel is he is nutted the fuck out. Like, hey, you got anything I can have? If you got anything I can have, I really would use it. You got any pills or anything like that? And he's like talking so fast, he falls off the fucking
Which would
ledge.
be Andrew's character if he was in this movie.
For
Would be
sure.
a tweaker squirrel.
1000% tweaker squirrel. Just so, I mean, like, absolutely fucking just like nutted out of his fucking mind. And he's also has this scene right after this where he's like talking with two other patients in the mental institution about like the oh fuck, what's the horse show Chase with
Mr. Ed.
My Name's Ed, Mr. Ed.
Yeah.
And he was like, they're like, now you see, they were able to do that with his mouth because they put peanut butter on the roof of his mouth. He's like, no, it wasn't peanut butter on the roof of his mouth. It was this, and this is how he did it. And then he starts to try to interject, and then he realizes if you play with pigs, you're gonna get dirty, kind of thing. So he's like, never mind, I'm not gonna fucking do that. And that's when he kind of decides he's like, I'm gonna get out of here. So the next day, he goes into Paul Giamatti's office, and they were classmates at whatever school they were at, and John Doolittle was the top of the class, and this guy was the bottom of the class, and he fucking hates John Doolittle, but he's like, I'd like to go home, and he's like, I don't think you're ready to go home. He's like, I think I want to go home. He's like, no, and then John's like, if I'll tell you what, if you let me go home, I won't tell everybody about the little tutu you keep in the back. And he kind of looks over at John. He goes, with the thong back. And then he looks over at the cat because he's like, I like that cat at the beginning. He's like, I think I like this cat because the cat called Paul Giamatti a fucking butthead. And he's like, I think I like that cat. And the cat obviously disclosed that. And that's how he gets out. He bribes his way fucking out of the mental institution, comes back and is like, I'm back on track. He gets his meetings in order for the merger. He's like, we need to get like there. He goes back in his office. He's like, I need this. And then one of the other doctors in the practice is like, we got him back. And he goes over to a window and there's a pigeon in the window and he shoots the pigeon away. And he's like, we need to get screens in here. This is a doctor's office, not a zoo.
Right. And
like, he's like, so it's like, he's very much on track now.
The two doctors that are with him to make partner, one of them is a nice doctor and the other one is kind of the asshole spearheading everything. He wants to be rich. And he's like, we got him back. We're gonna set this merger because he has to go with us, kind of thing. And one of the doctors is in Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm. He was in Jurassic Park 2. He was in The Lost World, and he was what's his face? He's the guy that gets eaten out of the Jeep because he can't get the gun out and it gets caught in the webbing of the Jeep. He's like He's like, violence and technology, not your bedfellows. He's that guy. So I don't remember his name though.
And then the other doctor was Oliver Platt. Like, I don't know how I couldn't remember his name.
Oh, Oliver Platt. That's right. Yes.
And so he plays a really good asshole doctor, but they're going to have a big meeting, a big conference to announce the merger and the sale. And during all this, he kind of comes down hard on Maya, and he was like, don't be weird or something like that while he's in her bedroom. And then this is where the grandfather, who set all this in motion by being a dick to John when he was as a kid, was saying, Maya has this wonderful monologue about like,
she's like, I was like,
why does my dad not like
everybody else was scared. Well, she was like, and everybody else was scared when dad went to the mental institution or whatever. We're talking to animals, but I was happy because he's weird like me. And he's like, Maya, you're not weird. And they have this whole sweet moment, and he's like,
and she was like, and why does my dad not like me? And he was like, your dad loves you. And he's like, I know he loves me, but he doesn't like me, which is a good line.
That's a great line
because it's very in depth for her character, and that's when she goes into the being weird. And the grandfather, knowing that John is listening as he's putting on his tie, goes, no, Maya, don't stop doing the experiment. Sometimes dads need to learn to change too. And he looks out the door and looks at John, and they make eye contact. And it's like his, hey, I fucked up when you were a kid kind of moment. Yeah. And then long story short, they end up in the car. They're driving over to the thing, and he's like, hey, guys, y'all go in. I'm going to talk to Maya for a second. And he basically is like, never stop being weird. Being weird is what makes you special. And special people make this world, and blah, 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 blah. They have this heartwarming moment, and that's where he changes. And Lucky's like, hey, the tiger's dying. So
yeah, we got to go. So they pick up he goes freeze the tiger from the circus. They has a police chase after him. They wind up in the hospital. The merger's happening. They're all like, everybody's like, where's John? Where's John? Where's John? And the asshole doctor is talking to the nice doctor, and he's like, essentially, he's like, we gotta get him here, and he's like, he'll be here when he's here, and he turns around and walks out the door, or walks through like the revolving door, not the revolving door, the swinging door, and the bad doctor doesn't know that the other nice doctor's on the other side, and he starts shit talking him to one of the guys in the merger, and he's like, he's one of those doctors where he'd be very happy taking his little black bag, making house calls, and he starts like walking through the door, and the other doctor hears him and he goes, you know what, fuck this shit, and then runs the door right through his fucking nose and breaks his nose. And so they go into the waiting room, and that's where they see um Dr. Doolittle. Uh, like he's like, hey man, now's not a good time. I'm kind of with somebody right now, and he goes, oh John, I do not approve. Lisa is a wonderful woman. So they think he's cheating on Lisa. When after he says that, what pops out, Chase?
The tiger's underneath the thing, and it starts because it sees the guinea pig. The guinea
That's
pig
right,
is
yes.
loose because Maya brought the guinea pig with her. And I will say this, Chris Rock was my least favorite character in this as an adult. I think I found him very annoying. All he did was sing and scream, and his voice was just kind of irritating. Every other animal I kind of tolerated and was funny, and their voice acting was good. It's just Chris Rock just did not hold up on this segment. But yeah, the tiger sees it. Everybody knows what's happening. Somehow he gets the tiger into surgery, and he starts doing surgery on the tiger, and he's like, the tiger's like, have you done this before? And he's like, in med school once, but the doctor did say if my patient was already alive and not a cadaver, he would be alive still. And the tiger's like reassuring. And so he ends up finding the problem, fixes the tiger in front of everybody. Everybody ends up watching, and Oliver Platt comes in, and he's like talking to the head of the merger, which is also a famous actor. I can't think of his name. And he's like,
Yeah,
he's gone. He's back to the mental institute tomorrow. We will get rid of him. He's like, he's the most amazing doctor I've ever seen. He's like, and that's why we're going to keep him on. We're going to,
yeah.
That's why he's coming with us. So it didn't hurt to sell. Everyone gets to see him work on animals. And
he goes up to Dr. Doolittle, the guy from the merger, and he goes, I love what I see. I love what I'm buying. Great stuff. And he's like, well, we're not for sale. And he's like, what the fuck? And he's like, we're not for sale. Sorry. And does the right thing and doesn't sell his soul. And the guy from the merger and the asshole doctor get shit on by a pigeon, and the pigeon shits in the asshole doctor's mouth, which was a great
just
touch.
great. And it's the pigeon from earlier that thought it was a blue jay, and he was like, is that pigeon enough for you? Or is that pigeon enough for you? And it ends with him and Lucky walking down to the circus where the tiger's performing now, and Lucky basically says, now you're treating humans and animals. And he's like, yep. And he's just like, and taking more time with his family. And that wraps up Dr. Doolittle, which, by the way, it's spelled Doolittle. The original spelling is
Dollitt.
Yeah, only one O. I don't know why the other O got added, and that's kind of a mystery.
Maybe copyright. It might have been a copyright thing or something.
But Kyle, we started off with you. Let's start off with you this time around too. What did you think of this movie now as an adult?
It's fucking very funny. It's just very basic humor, and it's not trying to do too much. It's well done. The jokes are funny. There's some physical comedy. There's some mostly like dialogue that's really funny. It's well delivered. It's a good family movie. I watched it with my family, and it was a fun time. And it was better than how I remembered it, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I thought I wasn't going to like this movie, honestly. I thought it was going to be too kid joke friendly, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but we talked about it on Hold Up too. It's like, you got to have a little bit of adult humor or something that the adult's going to be attracted to. If not, then it's only for kids. This movie is not for just kids. I had a good time with it. It's more of a wholesome film than anything, but the characters are really well written. I was pleasantly surprised that I really liked it. It wasn't the blow me away kind of comedy. I wasn't laughing all over the place, but in certain spots I did laugh, and that's like we said with any comedy.
It's huge.
If you're laughing out loud, it's good. And again, not the funniest movie I've seen. It's not something I'm going to frequent, but if it's on, I wouldn't mind catching a few minutes of it here or there, kind of one of those passing movies. If I had a kid, which you have Winnie, this is one to definitely show her as they get older. The technology doesn't outdate itself. There's not a lot of pop culture references in it. They just
No.
kind of play it straight. So it is kind of timeless in that manner. So would you say it holds up?
Yes, unequivocally.
I do too. I think this one's a clear hold up, and I kind of miss Andrew on this one. I wonder what he would say. You know,
I think he would say no, it doesn't.
he would say it held up because Norm Macdonald's in it.
Maybe, but he'd be like, it was really hard for me, but I think because Norm Macdonald's in it.
He didn't get it.
Yeah.
Andrew didn't get it.
I-
What would you give it on IMDb?
A little unprecedented. This is going to be a higher score for me just because of the nostalgia factor, but I would definitely give this a 7.6.
Whoa,
Pretty
probably
high,
one of
pretty
your
high.
highest scores too.
Yeah, it's just the rewatchability of it. Like I could watch this again later this year, it's got Christmas Vacation vibes for me.
Yeah, I give it a 6.4, which is high for a family comedy to me. It's not something I'm going to frequent because of the family comedy aspect of it, but I think it's very solid. And if you have kids, you're going to enjoy it more, and you'll probably watch it more out there. Do you want to guess what the actual IMDb score is? I know you said it was low.
I'm gonna guess it's probably in the I'm gonna say 6.2.
It is 5.4 on IMDb.
Fuck. See, this is why we don't trust IMDb, folks. I'm telling you, our taste is better than anybody, even if it's you that's updating on IMDb. Like your taste fucking blows. This movie is worth more than a 5.4, and you're a fucking lunatic, tasteless pig, fucking swine if you think that it is a 5.4 movie. Go fuck yourself up a tree, up every single fucking branch.
I would say this is one of the rare movies which was lower than
It is. I know.
what we usually grade them lower than that. But
This is one where you got to trust us. You can't trust
trust
IMDb.
us. Kyle, I mean, it sounds like I heard you're doing well musically now. Have you been getting music lessons?
I don't need music lessons because I'm actually very adept at everything. There's not anything that I need really any help with. But if I did need help and I sucked as a musician like most of you do, I would go to soundspaceatl.com for all of your music lesson needs. And just remember that they have accessibility for all different learning styles, age groups, especially if you have a child that sucks at music. Help them suck less. Get them some music lessons. Try to be better. Try to hold a fucking tune, please. And this is your service to me to go to see our friends at Soundspace to get better musically, because nobody likes uncultured swine like we just talked about. And I want you to be able to tell me what major movie themes use a major fifth. And I want you to be able to tell me how good your aural skills are after going to see them, or just that you can play a fucking tune on the guitar. Be a Renaissance person. Don't be a fucking basic idiot. Go to Soundspace. Get some help.
That's right. You can go to soundspaceatl.com to book your first music lesson with them. Great crew over there, and I think their first 15 minutes is free, so they'll even talk to you about what they can do to make you better, whether you're playing the ukulele, the piano, the guitar, bass guitar, whatever you're looking for. Soundspace ATL's got you covered. Kyle, do you know what we're doing next week?
Well, not drugs, but we are doing speed.
We are doing speed. We're going to try to keep it over 50 miles per hour next week. Andrew should be back on the show. Love talking to him. In the meantime, you can go join us on social media, Instagram, TikTok. Go to our Patreon, give us some money. And then you can always find out what we're doing later down the road. We'll see you all next week for Speed.